Civil Disobedience. Who wrote that?
That's
The
right.
guy that hung out at Walden Pond.
Yep, where every baby boomer wants to live.
That's true, isn't it? Regrettably. I am beating my drum about SAIC, who are a very shady, spooky company, Scientific Applications International Computing, and I'm working on an article on it, and I hope to get it in print and on the web in a fuller form. Actually, I guess I've decided to do it because concision is the enemy of my digressions, which I'm expert as, if you noticed. Anyway, so that's software something or other is what?
It's called Carnegie Mellon University Department of Defense Software Engineering Institute, and their checks are cut by the DoD.
Yeah. So this isn't really a think tank on the level of like the RAND doing
No.
studies.
The RAND is next door.
Is it?
Right next door.
Well, the RAND started out with Air Force money, but they've sort of spun off, and their latest thing is there's no military solution for Afghanistan. Why didn't they tell us a while back, and why didn't they say the same thing about Iraq? Anyway, yeah, SAIC, more to come on that, I think. What I worry is that they're going to use the new deep water IBM computer, or Blue Water, to run Deep Green on. Deep Green is the latest that they're working on. It's a battlefield control, seamless system of battlefield control, which I think includes the launching of Hellfire missiles from Predators or whatever the follow-up.
I had some
to the
deep
Predator.
blue acid in '69.
Orange dimple domes or something, right? No, that was Sunshine. Anyway, we're dating ourselves here, and
Orange wedgies.
I wouldn't go out with myself, like Groucho said. I won't be part of an organization that would have me. God, we got to stop doing this stand-up while we're sitting down. What are we going to do next, Jerry? Yeah, let's go to New Orleans. Let's go to New Orleans. We don't need any more musical breaks. We have, I said about 15 minutes before the end, we'll let you talk about Malik Rahim and Common Ground and your work right in the aftermath. You were down there right away, you said.
I was down there right away.
We did foreshadow that a bit ago.
I was down there right away, and we got a minivan, and we filled it up with beans and rice and coffee, and we headed down there, and even when gas was down in price, it took $800 round trip. But that's not why we were going. Obviously, the tragedy and the death of, and the destruction of so many homes could not be thwarted by a bag of lentils from the Pittsburgh East End Food Co-op. And so we went down there and just were able to get into the forbidden zone, the zone right behind where the levee broke, and we were able to see how the levee was just looked like some wall that you and I would put up in the backyard to reflect the sun, and how it couldn't have stopped anything, and how the one wharf vehicle went straight through the wall and met so many people in the Ninth Ward, which is still not rebuilt today, and they had never really been around white people, and they were really happy for us to come. And when we went up the road to Waveland, Mississippi, there were 2,000 people waiting in line to get food, middle class people, upper middle class people. And so I've made 6 trips to New Orleans. I'm going to make a 7th soon. And somebody said, do you want to meet Malik Rahim? He's co-founder of Common Ground Relief, and used to be a Black Panther. And I said, no, I don't want to meet anybody who used to be a Black Panther. Because there are all these people going around the country saying, I used to be a Black Panther, give me $10,000 and I'll speak at your school.
Oh, wow.
And so,
he's also ran as a Green Party person for years.
And so they were having this press conference, and he was lumbering. He's old. He was lumbering across the stage, and I go, oh my gosh. And his even his dreadlocks were gray, and he was the real deal. And he was real quiet around the kids, but him and I got along really well, and we're laughing. I was asking all these really provocative questions and stuff like that. We got along really well. I've done several video interviews with him, and also when he was in New York, and Malik and I have become friends and have been trying to help out down there, especially with their new building program as much as I can, but when I was in New Orleans, I was able to do things like get fresh produce from the closest food co-op, which is 150 miles away. I was able to work on the water project there, getting a water filtering system from some baby boomer who had too much money out in California, and it's been you know, very exciting to go back and forth and to meet such amazing people.
Yeah, last time I saw him in Democracy Now!, he looked really down. He was pretty dissolute about it, I don't know. But
Yeah, he goes through those, and
one can understand.
and also he's, you know, as we get older, some health problems.
Yeah. Yeah, how often do you really hear that, you know, was it 17 or 1,800 people that died? Lost their
You
lives?
never hear that figure.
Yeah, very
Never hear.
infrequently.
And I guarantee you, well, even as much as Houston was said, 1,700 people didn't die there.
Yeah. One, and you know, the people that have been taking refuge in Houston from New Orleans, those folks, man, double whammy. One year after another. But, you know, the hurricanes aren't getting any stronger or bigger. We know that, don't we?
Yeah, it's really funny how that the white educated people will say, well, why don't they just move from there? Why do they want to go back home? And I finally asked somebody that in one of my video interviews, and they said, because this is my home.
Yeah. Well, there's, I mean, there's, the New Orleans is one of the biggest ports in the U.S., 25% or something of product comes through there, so even if, yeah, well, the ethnic cleansing was hurricane assisted, and I'm not going to ever count what those ridiculous people were saying about how the hurricane, well, I guess I am, the hurricane did what you know, years of urban renewal wasn't able to do.
Yep, and there's people there who came back and they discovered their, surprise, surprise, their homes were ruined, and they couldn't even rent something for the same equivalent, because after that, all the rent and prices for housing went up.
Yeah,
So-
5 or 6 times in
Yes.
some areas, I heard.
And so it's created a whole new generation of homeless people that were not homeless before Katrina. They were out there, you know, putting together their money, putting together little social,
Shotgun house.
SSI disability, shotgun house, hurricane booze.
Well, Common Ground's got a web presence. You have one too, notowar.com. Vincent, Eirene, I haven't actually reintroduced you in a while. Are you on a bit of a speaking tour? Are you hitting some other places? You spent some time in Chicago in the past, and you have some connections to the Kathy Kelly's group?
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't you speak on that a little bit if you want to? I don't know.
Well, I'm again, if people know of a place where I could speak, this is my first of a speaking tour, which is sort of out and back, as I do have a family, and I've done 2 national speaking tours about during the Cold War, and I think that speaking is a lost art.